I kind of thought I was crazy moving to New York a little bit. Everyone else told me, yeah, that's sick. And I was kind of like, oh, fuck, I don't know.
Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Kyl Reber podcast. This is a podcast where we deep dive into some famous people that you will never know. Some people that I've known for many years, some people that I've known for a few years, some people that I've known since they were annoying teenager blue or purple belt in jiu-jitsu that made me embarrass the shit out of me because I kicked my ass and then laugh and give me shit afterwards. Which brings me to introducing my next guest. If you are in the Australian Jiu-Jitsu community, the name Pete DeBean is probably something that you've heard a lot of, but there is this little fella as well. His name's Max DeBean, but we're not working on Max DeBean, Pete DeBean's son today. We're working on Max DeBean himself. So Max DeBean, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Carl. Pretty happy to be here. Keen to chat. Hopefully I don't annoy you too much like I did back in the day.
No, mate. I was thinking back. I was trying to think because I've been Gracie Jiu-Jitsu or DeBean Jiu-Jitsu since I started. I went officially under your dad. I think it might have been 2010 or 11. So I think the first time I met you, I was a purple belt. So what would you have been? 2006 or 7? How old have you been then?
I would have been, 10 or 11. I was born in 96, so.
Yeah, I think the first time we physically rolled, I think you would have been maybe a purple.
Purple. Yeah, I think purple I got blue 15. I would have been 16 or 17, something like that. That's blue purple.
Fucking long time, mate. We'll get to that later, but so for those who are new to this, our podcast, we have 10 questions that we give to our worthy recipients. Some of them are easy to answer. Some of them might make them think a little bit. But we're going to get started. This is always the one that uses up the most time, but even at your 27 years of age, I'm sure there's a little bit you've done. I'm sure there's something to talk about.
Yeah, there's some stuff. Hopefully it's interesting enough.
Oh, I'm sure. Question number 1, birth to now in 7 minutes. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So 1996, I'm born in Torquay. Well, technically I was born in Geelong, but there's not a hospital in Torquay. So
Torquay, Victoria.
Torquay, Victoria. And then not really sure what I was doing for those first couple of years, but I started jiu-jitsu 3 years later in 1999. There's a photo of my sister and I training in Gracie Barra.
Which is in Rio.
Yeah, so that's Gracie Barra is like now it's a brand and a franchise called Gracie Barra, but back then it was just Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in Baja. Baja's like the town in Rio. And then from there they franchised it out, but back then it was just the one.
Now, we were talking off air, another podcast you did recently, which is a very interesting thing, thinking about how long you've been doing jiu-jitsu. You can't physically remember any time in your life that you have not been doing something jiu-jitsu related.
No, that I don't even remember training jiu-jitsu probably even before like 6 or 7 maybe. So any time after that, it's just I've always done jiu-jitsu, like whatever it's been, twice a week as a kid, 3 times. Like that's been the thing that I've always done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Primary school, you were a good kid. You didn't get in much shit. You behaved yourself.
Yeah, for the most part, I think I got into a little bit of shit in like year 5 and 6. But nothing crazy. So
You've got an older sister, Kobe. Were you annoying little brother one-on-one?
I always felt like I was bullied, Good.
Oh, oh shit! All right.
Well, she's 4 years older, and she also always did jiu-jitsu, and I felt like I was mistreated. But I'm sure it was just things that brothers and sisters do. But yeah, she always loved doing jiu-jitsu as well. So we were kind of just like the pair, you know.
Hmm.
It was good.
So, primary school, always doing jiu-jitsu. Any other sports that were there?
Yeah, I liked like any other kid, like football, basketball, even played cricket. I was just terrible at all of them. I don't think I have very good hand-eye coordination. I don't know, like maybe jiu-jitsu is like some sort of full body coordination that I'm okay with, but the ball sports and racket sports,
Yeah.
no good. So I played them for fun, but jiu-jitsu was kind of always the thing I was good at, so I stuck with that.
Um, high school.
Yeah, high school continued playing footy and basketball just because it was compulsory to play a school sport. And then probably like 15, I started taking jiu-jitsu a bit more seriously. Um, I started competing more like internationally and stuff like that. As a blue belt, like, you know, once you graduate from the kids belts, it's a bit more serious.
Mm, mm.
But yeah, still only training like twice, 3 times a week up to that point.
Up to that point, so like comparing to my children, I've definitely seen in in Ivy that there has been like she's 13 turning 14 now. There's definitely been a little bit of a switch go off with competition.
Hmm.
Prior to that, like as a kid, would you would you have said that you were focused in classes or you were just enjoying it for the ride or did you like you know what I mean? Like because you're was Pete coaching the kids' classes?
Yeah, he was for the most part. I think
And
every now and again.
how did that roll out?
Um, well, it now like if I look at it now from me coaching some kids classes now, um, I some of the kids like they sort of some have a bit of a crack and some are sort of like they don't really care either way. I
Mm,
remember like crying about like not being able to like beat a kid or
yeah.
if the kid was like bigger and stronger and like I would get super frustrated and like really like throwing a tantrum sort of thing. And then dad would just kind of be like, you just try again, like I
Mm.
think he was like embarrassed that I was like being a little, he probably just like try to avoid the whole situation.
What's
But yeah,
your dad's demeanor as a coach? I don't know. Like I'd struggle. Like I don't know if he would he ever actually get the because I know that with me with the kids, um, you feel not that your kids have to be the best, but like there's extra pressure because they're your kid. Do you think your dad ever felt that, or did you ever feel that?
I definitely felt that. I don't know what he felt. I felt like that a lot competing and stuff through kind of until recently.
Mhm.
um, now I'm more like once I started competing internationally, it was a bit like, oh, okay, no one really gives a shit because no one knows who I am. In Australia, as a kid, it was a little bit different. Um,
Mm,
I definitely felt pressure to try to be good.
mm. What was high school? High school, like in Torquay or in Melbourne or Geelong?
In Geelong. So primary school in Torquay and then high school in Geelong, just bus to school every day back and forth from year 7 to 12.
Now, co-ed school, all boys school, or no,
Co-ed.
co-ed. Now, how does that go around? And this is something I talk with my kids about. Lila, in particular, really keeps it on the down low at school that she does martial arts. She's done it for a long time. The less people know, the better. What was it like for you at high school?
Everybody knew, because like dad would always try to put it in like the school newsletters and stuff that I won tournaments as advertising for him to have more students. Um, but I would not always, but I would every year or a couple times a year, I would miss school to go overseas to Brazil or something for a tournament. So, people would ask where you're going. So everyone sort of knew. And then my sister, she kind of did the same thing 4 years ahead. So if there was, siblings in different years, they would know my last name or whatever.
Mm,
Um, Yeah, in terms of like, I was never bullied or anything at school. Probably, I was small, but I don't think no one's going to try to bully a kid who does martial arts.
Mm.
Um, it was good for me. School was fun. Like, yeah, never had any issues like with anything like that.
But you were traveling a lot from an early age.
Yeah, yeah, really lucky to have done that. That's something that's awesome that dad was able to do, and mum was able to come to some trips as well. Yeah, we did Brazil, America. They were the main sort of two because that's where all the tournaments are.
How was it like a young child traveling to Brazil? That would be pretty eye-opening to say the least, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I remember distinctively. I can't remember if it was 2007 or 11. The years I think I first started going, but we went there and like I just had like all like Quicksilver clothes because mum always worked at Quicksilver
Yeah.
and like a G-Shock, like nice clothes, but not like Gucci and stuff like that. But
Mm.
even wearing like that and like some a nice pair of runners walking around the street, we were like, oh, I feel a bit like sticking
Yeah.
out here in some parts because I get in the bus to go to like different places. So I remember Dad was like, let's just go to the op shop and we'll just go and buy like
Yeah. Right.
some cheap like just clothes. I'm not gonna be like, oh, like head to toe Quicksilver and a G-Shock, like
Mm.
I remember doing that, and that was kind of first time I realized like, oh, it's like kind of better to just blend in and you don't want to like stick out and make yourself, a target or anything like that. So
Yeah.
that was really cool at the age of what, like 11 that I sort of figured that out.
Mm. Because you've done a lot of traveling, haven't you?
Um, a reasonable amount, yeah. I probably would have done two or three, well, say maybe like two trips overseas to compete a year from 10 till now.
Mm. What's so like high school done? What happens after that?
Um, so I knew that I was going to do jiu-jitsu pretty early on. So
When
I
did
didn't,
that? Well, when you say pretty early on, like because you were just saying off air, you've never had a 9 to 5 or something like.
yeah, yeah. So probably like, yeah, probably like 15. I was probably like, okay, like what is that, year nine, year 10?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna do jiu-jitsu. So
And when you
yes.
said that at the careers day at high school, they went, "Are you? What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, no, well, I was like, oh well, that's what dad does and his family
Because
do it. They're like, whatever.
your
So
dad was running a full-time school, like what did 93 officially started, but the St Kilda Academy opened what, early 2000, late 90s,
96.
96. So to run a full-time martial arts academy and have that as your gig in 1996 in Australia, that's early.
Yeah, well, he had two. He had Torquay and St Kilda and just doing the highway miles. Torquay obviously has been the smaller one, smaller place, especially back then.
Hmm.
Mm. Yeah, and still has the two now. And then, yeah.
That's so. So you get to high school, you're finishing high school, you decide this is what you're going to do. What happens after grade 12?
Um, we had a storeroom in the back of the St Kilda Academy, which
I
I,
remember that.
yeah, I converted that to a bedroom. So first year out of high school, I was like, cool, I'm gonna go live in the back of the St Kilda Academy. Um, there's a little kitchenette like in the reception area if you've been there before.
Mm.
It's a sink and there's a fridge. So then I just had like a sandwich press, which I would use as my cooktop sandwich press. If you're 18, 19, don't really care. The Coles was just next door, so I could just get, bachelor's handbag, hot chook if I needed to. Like, just basic living, just like that.
Mm.
And just, yeah, training jiu-jitsu, teaching classes for like a year there. Just, I feel like I think I was purple to brown belt and I got a lot better at jiu-jitsu in that time. Like it's even if you live close to the academy, living in the academy, it's different because there's zero excuse. You're like, well, fuck, all right, I wasn't going to train, but I'm not going to sit here and watch. I may as well just
There's a
walk
class
out
on, I
the
might as well
room
do it.
and I might as well do it. So you just train like so much, like even if you're not actually doing hard rounds, you're just constantly like in classes, learning, seeing other people. And we've got like a lot of high level instructors there. So it was, getting different perspectives from different people, other black belts, not just dad. So that was really cool. And then, yeah, after that year, I stayed living in Melbourne, but got a share house with a mate.
Hmm.
I think it's sort of done with the back of the academy type of thing.
I was going to say, what about those 6 a.m. classes when everyone's mucking around and you're just trying to fucking go to sleep, or do you just go, "Oh, I might as well jump in"?
Nah, those fuckers used to always like, knock on my door and be like, "We know you're in there." And I'm like, "Dude, I was training at like 8:30 p.m. last night. Like, have some fucking respect. I'm not going to train at 8:30 and 6:30. Like, God, I got to train at
Oh
lunchtime
God, he
as
said
well."
that with a forked tongue. This is serious. This is like still bringing up so.
Yeah, yeah. I remember they'd knock on my door and shit. I was like, "Fucking hell."
What when you said you got a lot of training, for someone, I always say to my students, like your magic number is 2. So if you can be doing 2 classes a week, you will see some gradual improvement. And of course, there's people who can jump straight into 3 or 4 and that sort of thing. At your highest amount of training, how many hours of classes or training do you reckon you were doing a day, and how many days a week?
Um, well, yeah, like every day at least once, probably not Sundays. 6 days. Um, once a day at least for like a few rounds. Like I don't think you can do more than like one session of like hard competition rounds a day. Like when people are like, "Oh, I train like 6 hours a day," it's like,
Yeah.
well,
What are you doing in those 6 hours?
yeah, are you on the mat on your phone? Like I think you can do as much technical stuff as you want. That just probably comes down to how much you love jiu-jitsu and how, do you want to do anything else with your life or just
Mm,
that? But hard, like actual rounds, yeah, like 45 minutes, hour, like that's kind of all you can do a day with that stuff. Then obviously there's a good amount of drilling time. So if I was going to do 2 classes a day, it'd be, yeah, one class I'd have a bit of a crack with the training. The other one I might do just some specific training and some technique, maybe a round with a lower belt or something. But I'm not going to do hard rounds with guys my level twice a day. No way. But yeah, probably 2 a day, 1 to 2 a day would be where I'd be at.
yeah. So year 12 moved into so now we're into the house. What happens after that?
Next 3 years, I spend in in Melbourne, living with mates, just like teaching, um, training. Very similar schedule, just not living in the academy.
So what are
Um,
your when you say like mates, what are, because again, your life is very, I don't know if I'd say structured, but you have a goal. Like you've got something you're wanting to do and you're wanting to do a lot of. Do you find that, how was it living with, were you living with these mates and all they wanted to do was go and party and you go, no, I'm going to bed or this or that, or how are you? Because again, this is what honest, like I used to see you, you were 20 when you got your black belt. So other 20-year-olds are out doing all sorts of shit, yet you're training and all the rest of it. Was there a hard to balance it?
yeah, I definitely did like a little bit of partying too.
Or was it
Maybe not.
just not your thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always been pretty good at balancing things in my life, like not too much one way or the other. Like I think if I like just didn't drink at all, I just would probably go like crazy doing jiu-jitsu all the time.
Mm,
Find like, just if you just like keep it at like a decent amount, like maybe party a little bit here, skip this week, party that week, like get all your training done. As long as you tick all the boxes with the training, then, as long as there's that balance, that always works for me.
Because again, not to compare, but your dad has a very strict sort of way of living and lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm a bit different to him.
We would go so far as fanatical. So like, do you ever sort of go, fuck, I just want a pie?
Yeah.
Like
I live my life in a lot more free manner than he does.
which again, each to their own. But yeah, you often sort of like, okay, so is that, you're finding your way to do this as well?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for me, I need like certain releases, whether that's with food or just to go surf or go have a beer. Like I don't know how he actually lives such a monotonous life with just eating cucumbers and rowing and training every day. Like I would go crazy.
I often joke that I can order your father's meals for him when he comes up here. I can
It's
order. It hasn't changed in like 15 years.
no, just pick something organic and something uncooked, and you'll be pretty much on the right track. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
balancing it all, um, where did we get to? So, like I said, 20,
yeah.
got your
So
black belt.
20 black belt, and then
How was that? Because I say to the kids in our kids' classes, we often like, because you're coming up to us later in the year and teaching some seminars, and we've got like, kids that would have been of similar age to you when you were cutting your teeth and that sort of thing. And they're getting frustrated and all the rest of it. I'm saying, I know this kid that it took him 17 years to get his black belt in jiu-jitsu. And their jaws drop. They go like, who does something for 17 years and before they actually go, okay, maybe I don't suck at this. What did that, not what did it feel like, but, I mean, clearly you were good at what you did and the people you were training around was a blessing. You were getting to train with such high level people from such an early age.
yeah,
Not that the black belt was anticlimactic, but did you go like, I think of, okay, I'm getting somewhere now.
yeah. I will. It was never like something that I was like waiting for.
Yeah.
Like I knew from my earliest memory of jiu-jitsu that I was going to be a black belt. Like it was a rite of passage. It was going to happen. Like I knew I was going to put in enough time to be good enough to earn one. So even as like I sort of matured a bit through maybe like from like 13, 14, 15, 16, even like getting to like the adults belts, you go, okay, like I'm not really in a rush here. Like it is what it is. Like I'm training. Now I'm a good blue belt and I'm a good purple belt. Like I think you'd rather be a good level for your rank than be
Mm.
graded quickly and then be not so good because that's quite embarrassing.
And the yeah, and the foundation that you had too, like for those who listening in and don't understand the belt system, the International Brazilian Jiu Jitsu Federation has age, I guess you'd say, restrictions on when you get your belts. So, like someone like Ivy's 13, turning 14. She's a green belt, but she's been training pretty much 10 years. So, when she's training with a guy in here who's a white belt or even a blue belt, been training 2 years, it's an interesting watch to see how that extra child foundational skill really comes into play.
Yeah, well, the other thing I noticed too, like if a kid trains, say, like Ivy from 3 or 4 to 13 or 14, and then for whatever reason, maybe they, quit, they find another sport, or it often happens at that sort of age
Mm,
when,
mm,
it happens and all sorts of crazy stuff starts going on in life. Where if they come back to the sport, maybe after high school or once they're in uni and they're sort of figured out who they are,
mm.
they'll still have that really good base and
Yeah.
they learn so fast. And they'll come back and usually just wear a white belt. And then everyone's like, how is this person so good? And you're like, they trained for 10 years from the age of five.
Mm.
So they never lose that base, like, because it's such a like the full body coordination and how you have to move and the awareness you need, like it's a hard thing to pick up as an adult. It takes a lot of time.
So, being a kid who's transitioned into the adult classes, and dare I say it, a kid as I compare your journey a little bit to my kids because I
Yeah.
think they would go under similar pressure.
Yeah.
And I've said to my kids, don't ever fall back on your surname. Be you.
Mm.
But you wouldn't be able to help being in an adult class, Pete to Bean, Max to Bean. Oh, this is his kid. So if I can beat his kid, did you feel like there was a target on your back every now and then?
I don't know if I
Or
felt
were
like
the
that.
adults more mature with it?
Well, I think most of the adults, like you guys and some of the other guys in St Kilda and even the guys in Torquay, like they trained with me like as a genuine child where they could just
Yeah.
beat so easily. And then they sort of watched me grow and actually get stronger and good enough to the point where then I could start to beat some of them.
Mm.
But it wasn't like I feel like if you watch someone sort of grow up and you beat them as a kid and then it's like a passing of the torch, so to speak, I don't think they're like trying to
No.
get wins on me anymore, you know?
No, I agree.
I
Even
never
even rolling
felt.
with Ivy now, she's a much different role to when she was like fucking 5. Like, I go,
Yeah.
and you don't mean to sound sexist, but like, she's rolling like an adult, like a man. Like she's like, she's got grips, she's got this, she's got tactics.
Yep.
So yeah, and I think you're right, because you would know guys at St Kilda or maybe Torquay in particular that have literally known you. Some maybe have been there since '96.
Yeah, totally, totally. And that they just laugh now. Like when I if I can maybe beat them, they just like laugh like screw you.
Little
Like
fucking turd.
yeah, a little prick. So it's not really like there's ever been a target. I think everyone's just kind of like maybe
Yeah.
enjoyed. I hope maybe they think I'm a little prick or maybe they enjoyed watching me get better over the years.
But I think that's also an example of the culture. Like your dad's club has always been so welcoming. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And people come and go in different circumstances, but we always have the door open. Anyone wants to come back.
Mm. So let's move forward a bit more. So you had a period for a while there where you what would you say, really left the nest and went overseas? What happened there?
Yeah, so after my stint in Melbourne and sort of running a chunk of the program in St Kilda, I went to Henzo's in New York City to train, and then it was just training trip, and I came back, and then I was like, screw it, I'm gonna move there. So Henzo was kind enough to let me live with him and let me teach some classes and train and
So again, to give context, Henzo Gracie is one of the original sons.
yeah,
He
pioneer.
he's like he's I don't know, like I'd like to give background, but I'm just going to say he's Henzo fucking Gracie
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
or Uncle Henzo. Um, like you must have, and this is not to try and blow wind up your ass, but you must have moments where you go, "Is this actually fucking happening? Like, is this? Am I doing this?"
Yeah, well, I always just say that I'm just such a blessed Nepo baby. Like, nothing I've done. I just was born into this lucky circumstance, and for again, luck, I actually like jiu-jitsu. I could have been born who I am and not liked it and not taken advantage of every opportunity that I've been given. Thankfully, I did, and yeah, I mean, could have happened to anyone. It's just lucky it was me. Lucky I like jiu-jitsu.
So living in the States, Henzo's club's in Manhattan.
Yep.
How, so you were training actively in, at the club.
Yeah, the blue basement. He's got
Basement.
5 in Manhattan now, but back then it was just the one.
How is that compared to little old St Kilda? Is that hectic?
Um, yeah, there's more like the
Especially
nightclub.
as a what, a 21-year-old kid?
23, I want to say, I think 22, 23. Um, yeah, it was pretty intense. Like the class numbers were huge, like a lot of really good guys, and then training with like the competition team, just like savages. Like I was like, oh, okay, this is what it takes for the training. Now I get it.
It was sort of that thing like I have to be this good just to suck in here, you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, you go from like the big fish in the small pond to the little fish in the big pond, and you're like, oh, damn it, I kind of like being the big fish in the small pond.
Because yeah, was there ever any moments, not where you went, I want to go home, but was there moments where you went, have I fucking bitten off more than I can chew here?
Um, no, I don't think so. I think it was. I always knew it was exactly what I needed, and I was happy to be there and tried to make the most of the opportunity. Yeah, it's just hard, but it was good.
But I think for you from again, like having that exposure to that high level an early age, your level, definition of normal would be a lot different to a lot of other people's definitions of normal, even at the same rank.
Potentially, I don't know. I'm not sure. Can't put myself in other people's minds, but
Mm.
maybe.
Mm.
But it was really good, and just like it's not just Henzo. Like Gregor Gracie was teaching a lot there. I learned a lot from him. There's just so many like good guys to train with there, and like the standard of the highest level guys there is just like so high.
Yeah.
The chunk of people I think is pretty much the same. Like as our academy here, I noticed it's not like every purple belt there would make all of our purple belts look like white belts.
No.
I think the masses are much the same, but you just get those guys at the top of each belt. You might get some kid who's like 16 purple belt and he's like a fucking demon. And you have like the guys who are like black belts and they're like, these guys are these kind of black belts, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just that the higher end is quite high.
Would you so when you were competing, so there, and then you were actively doing like the circuit per se in the States?
Yeah, I was just doing as many IBJJF tournaments as I could, trying to qualify to get to Worlds. Didn't get the points I needed in the time I was there. But it was good just doing different tournaments and stuff. It was funny because I was there mostly like through COVID, so a lot of the tournaments
Mm.
were just only in like Texas or Florida because they were the only states that didn't really care about COVID, so they could hold, jiu-jitsu events.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were just training and then we'd go as a team to some different events and try to get some wins.
What was the United States doing jiu-jitsu in COVID like?
Well, Henzo's was all boarded up, like windows boarded up and everything, and we just had like a little secret door knock to get into. And
What's the password?
yeah. Text. Oh my God, I was looking. New York City was like fully locked down, so we had to be pretty sneaky about it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny. But I think yeah, like Texas and Florida was pretty chill. That's why they could hold the events.
Mm. So you did that for a little while, got through COVID. At what point did you go, I'm coming home?
When the passport control people took me into the back room.
Roger. What- back to like that whole, was there nothing you wanted to talk? Was there something you didn't want to talk about?
Nah, I don't care. It's kind of funny. I was going there just on the tourist visa,
Yeah.
just in and out. And so I would just go there and dip over to Brazil for a tournament. I had to come home for shoulder surgery and then go back. And so I kind of had to go somewhere a lot of time. I did a couple little visa runs. And then eventually they took me back into the room and they're like, oh, like, what are you doing? You've been in and out this amount of times. And I told them everything I was doing and they weren't super pissed because they were like, okay, he's not like working per se. They were like, you're an athlete, so you need an athlete visa. So we'll let you in, but next time you come back, we want to see you on an athlete visa. And I was like, oh, okay. I've already been here for like almost 2 years. I think I'll just do this 3 months and then go.
Mm. Did you ever what was the American culture like? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's
Or do you
good.
prefer Australian culture?
I prefer Australian culture for sure.
Mm.
But I was hanging out with a lot of Brazilians there too. And a lot of I think Brazilian culture is more similar to ours than American.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of good American friends there too. Yeah, I think jiu-jitsu people may be a little different all over the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it
No.
was good.
So yeah, passport control chats. You come back to Australia. What year are we in now?
Like 21 or 22.
Okay. So we're back to the plan. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. So what does that involve now?
So that involves me wanting to live in Torquay for the rest of my life because I grew up here and like it here. So then that's me now running the academy in Torquay again. Nepo baby, just being given everything that they want.
But I think it's funny like how you say that, but you're capable of failing as much as anybody else.
Yeah, I guess. I see it as it's if someone wanted to do what I'm doing, it would
Oh
be
yeah.
a lot harder than the path that has been for me. But yeah, I'm still trying to
You're
make
the
the
one
most.
that's responsible for keeping the doors open.
Yeah, trying to do the best I can do, but it's awesome. So just since then to now, it's just been living in Torquay, running the academy, teaching classes, spending a little bit of time in St Kilda as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does the transition from, what would you say, student to athlete to now coach slash business owner,
Mm.
is that just another world now? Now you're realizing, oh, this is why dad would get a bit cranky every now and then, or this is why he was home late that night, or that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely realizing some more of that now with the business side of things. Yeah, and then also trying to balance because he was obviously competing most of the time, well, all of the time while he was teaching.
Mm, which
Um,
is very hard to do, both of them.
I'm realizing that now. Yeah, like in Torquay, like I find myself somewhere train like twice for the week. Just
Mm,
I don't want to train in every class I'm teaching. I think that's wrong. I think you need to be watching the students.
mm,
So then I'm like, fuck, I can't expect to win tournaments if I train twice a week for this last month.
mm.
So that's where I'm at now, trying to balance things out.
What's your competition? I don't know, like you're just probably playing it by ear, but again, like, well, you're not in masters yet, but when you know, uh, do you think there's a lifespan on competition for you?
Yeah, yeah. I'm sort of just now realizing, like, sort of what I was saying, like I probably, if I want to keep competing, like I probably arrogantly thought that I could do well.
I think we all do.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm training enough, but not really. Um, so now I'm like, okay, do I make a sacrifice to then really put in the time to train? Like, I think you probably need to be training at least 8 to 10 times a week to really like put in enough time to be like a adult black belt competitor, the toughest division there is, that you need to be
100%.
doing minimum one a day, like minimum, and the rest, like gym work and stuff. So that's not really possible for me at the moment to put in that work of training. Um,
I think it's okay. Like, I mean, again, it's all what our goal is towards. I mean, I for me, I made the decision to not compete and just coach. And I say to my students, I could, because you again get it thrown up every now and then. Oh, why aren't you doing this, or why aren't you? I said I could go back competing, but we'd be training in my carport, and
mm,
I'd be working part time at JB Hi-Fi. You know,
yeah.
I just I'm sure there, and the other way is like, if you wanted to train that much, you probably have to employ the services of other people to get
Well, yeah,
across the line.
and go to other places where you
You are
can.
going to get a nudge.
Yeah, like I can't, even if I had the time to do those 8 to 10 sessions a week, it can't be with people that I can beat every time. It's got to be with people who beat me.
Yeah,
So I know there's that thing where Hodger was only training with whites and blue belts, but
he's a freak.
it's Hodger. Like, if you compare yourself to him, then that's the most arrogant thing you could ever.
Yeah.
Like, I do definitely see that side. Like, I think that probably like a fair chunk of your training needs to be, I call it kind of like playtime with people who
Mm,
you can beat, or maybe they're just weaker or something. So you can practice things and learn new techniques.
mm.
If you're competing, you don't want to be practicing and learning new techniques. You want to be honing your best techniques.
Basics wins fights.
Yeah. So if you need to be training with someone who can make your best technique like almost not work.
Mm,
That's what you need to be aiming for. But I
mm.
think even if you're competitive, if it's like outside of say competition season, you should probably avoid that type of training for the most part and be working on areas in your game where you need to get better at. And that's where you need the people that you can beat in the
Yeah.
training room. But you definitely need the both. You need the hard rounds and then you need the creative stuff if you want to get better.
Mm. Well, I think you've still got a few years to make that decision which one you want to do.
Yeah, well, I'm 27 now. See how we go. I'm not sure. I haven't made up my mind.
I think
Yeah.
that's okay too. I mean, like I said, like you've always been a pretty organized, disciplined kid. So I think if you want to do it, you'll do it.
Hmm.
Feel bad calling you a kid and you're 27 now, but anyway. All right. Number two, 3 reasons you get out of bed every morning.
Um, to train, whether it's
Yep.
jiu-jitsu or any form of exercise, gotta have something done every day. Otherwise, I feel like a pig at night.
Would you call it an addiction?
Um, yeah, yeah, I think so. I think if you go crazy and you get grumpy when you don't do it, you're probably addicted to it.
Hmm.
So even if it's like jiu-jitsu, definitely I need, but I can skip it a day or so here and there. But something else go fill that hole.
Have you tried any other martial arts or that just was never in the game plan?
No, I've done a bit of boxing and a little bit of Muay Thai. I'm terrible at Muay Thai and I'm terrible at boxing too. But
What is it with jujitsu only guys that just can't throw a kick?
well,
Can't.
like I said before, I'm so uncoordinated with ball sports and racket sports. Jiu-jitsu obviously doesn't take coordination for some
So
reason.
transitioning to MMA is definitely not going to happen.
Well, I wanted to, but yeah, the whole time and effort thing on I can't even figure out my jiu-jitsu competition career. So a whole nother sport is too much.
It's not going to work.
You can
What's
hold
two
some
and
pad for me when I come up later in the year and you'll see.
yeah, look, I'll make sure by the sounds of it, I'll wear my mouse guard and headgear as well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'm no good.
we'll give it a try, mate. We'll give it a try. You can't suck any more than other people in here. Number two and number three.
Um, I got to look after the dog, take him for a walk. We always get our walk on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
A good little fella. Um, and then honestly, if the weather is good, that's gonna definitely get me out of bed more.
Yeah.
Which
You're a morning person?
yeah, definitely morning. I feel like if I get stuff done early, like say if I have to teach a class at 6:30, the rest of my morning's productive.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I don't have anything on until like mid to late morning, then the first couple of hours are just a waste.
Yeah. How does the morning culture go with classes in Torquay?
It's not bad. It's like it's cold in winter here. Like
Mm,
it's so bad. Like
bitter cold.
yeah, like it's 2 degrees some mornings. Like it's pretty shit. Um, so it still gets we get like probably 3 or 4 guys in the morning, even in the cold. So it's yeah, it's pretty good. It's not a bad morning culture.
Yeah. You still surfing?
Yeah, a bit. Definitely should surf more, considering I can almost see the water from where I'm sitting. But um, yeah, surf just enough to be able to still stand up.
This this is one thing Helen says to me, like, she goes, like, you need a hobby. And I say, I got a hobby. I do martial arts. She goes, no, that's your work.
Hmm.
You need a hobby.
Yeah.
Would you say surfing's your hobby?
No, it's golf.
Golf.
Yeah,
Okay,
strange one,
so we're
huh?
back to the coordination thing. So clearly if you enjoy it, you don't suck at it?
No, I'm actually all right at golf. Like yeah, I, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. I can have a good day. Anyone who plays golf will say, yeah, my good day is really good, my bad day is really bad. It's a wild disparity of your good and your bad.
All right.
My good is pretty good.
Yeah, okay.
I enjoy it. It's fun.
All right. Let's not get in answering too many questions. Number three, two guilty pleasures that you have.
Um, a Portuguese tart with the
Oh,
coffee in the morning.
oh, stop it.
Yeah, if the
What's
cafe
your
stuff.
go-to coffee?
Um, just a long black usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm gonna get a latte, I usually go oat milk. I'm that
Yeah.
kind of. I don't like the cow's milk too much.
The same, mate. I'm the
Yeah,
same.
but then if they got a Portuguese tart in the little window there next to the coffee machine, I'll have one of those as well.
It's all right.
Um,
I reckon
and
you
then
work it
probably
out.
just natural wine, like without the preservatives and stuff. I like a glass of wine here or there.
Yeah, okay.
Mm.
Um, Even at 27, would you say your partying days are kind of over?
Yeah, more or less. Like partying for me would be like, you know, having a
Three
barbie at home with some
three
friends.
drinks and out by and fucking out past 10 o'clock, or
Yeah, or just staying home. Can stay up late, but staying home is much more fun to me these days.
Hmm,
Have people over and you can cook and drink here instead.
yeah. What do you think? I mean, getting back to the competition thing, you would have seen other kids that you went to school with probably go down the party road heaps. Do you think that jujitsu or having that thing there that kept you off that path a fair bit?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because especially because like jiu-jitsu is so hard, like on your body. Like you have to be feeling all right to do it. You can't just be like in a constant state of hangover. So
Mm,
I think definitely that helped for sure. I don't know what I would. Yeah, I'd definitely be probably drinking and partying if I didn't have jiu-jitsu. Like,
mm. It's so easy, isn't it?
yeah, well, it's yeah. You need the athletic endeavor is a good thing to keep you honest. I think.
And as I said, you are who you surround yourself with. Your friend, like your inner friend circle, is pretty much exactly the same as that.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, a couple of friends, athletes as well in other sports, and then yeah, pretty much all good, similar type of people to me in my friendship group.
Hmm. All right. Number four. One thing that you bought that has literally made you happy every day after.
This one kind of tough to put my finger on, but the thing kept coming back. It's definitely Ted, my dog.
Yeah.
He's something I bought that made you happy every day after. I think getting a dog at a young age was a really good decision. I was happy with that.
I I remember I think the last time, well, you've been at the house a couple of times,
I
but
remember with the Aussies, right?
Reggie, yeah.
Yep.
You're gonna love the other one, mate. We got one that's even smaller now. God.
Australian Terrier as well.
No, Affin Pincer.
Affin Pincer.
Yeah, like a 4 kilo black ball of fluff.
Really?
Oh, mate. Lenny.
Lenny's a cool name for a dog too. I actually, my mate, he still denies it to this day. He named his Kelpie Reggie after I came up to your trip because he just got the Kelpie and he's like, oh, what's good? I was like, what about Reggie? Reggie's kind of a sick name. My mate's, not Kelpie, my mate's dog's name is Reggie. And he called him Reggie. And then I mentioned it to him like a year or two ago. I was like, oh,
Mm.
yeah, I named him. And he's like, bullshit. No, I named Reggie Miller, the basketball player. I'm like, dude, I
The
literally like,
fuck?
remember I came back from Queensland and I said my friend's dog's name was Reggie. And no, 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 no. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care.
Well, this is how you blink your eyes now. Reggie's 13 now.
13.
Yep. He's still trots around, but he's deaf as a fucking post.
Yeah, right.
But
But
yeah,
that little dogs live. He'd have a few more years left, eh?
we hope so. Yeah, he's like, he does a lot of lying around the house all day and that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
no, he's still like, he's just you've got to literally go right up beside him and go, Reggie. But yeah, it's a grumpy old man now. But yeah, no, I get it with the dogs. You guys have had dogs your whole life, but haven't you?
Yeah, yeah. I had, yes, as long as I can remember, I had family dogs.
Mm. Um, number five. One thing everyone thought you were crazy doing, but did it anyway, and it paid off.
Well, I don't think there's anything I've done that everyone else thought I was crazy, but I kind of thought I was crazy moving to New York a little bit. Everyone else told me, yeah, that's sick. And I was kind of like, oh, fuck, I don't know. Like, I can just stay here. I can stay here and work for dad. Like, it's pretty easy. But that definitely paid off. That's probably the thing in my life I've done that I'm happiest I did the most.
This is the thing I was thinking of recently. Not to say it always happens, but it's usually our parents that try and talk us out of crazy decisions or what we
Mm.
think to be crazy decisions. In your case, it was your parents and your father that was motivating you to go and do this crazy stuff probably a lot of the time, wasn't it?
Yeah,
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 go to Rio. Yeah, go to New York. Go to do it. Whereas other kids' parents go, "What do you fucking like?" Like he's the one going, "Nah, do it. Let's do it. Let's do it."
yeah. Well, he's always been super supportive with like any decision that I make, which sometimes I'm like, it'd be nice if he's told me no
Just
once
tell
in a
me no
while.
every now and
Yeah, it's hard for me to know if it's a good decision or not because if it, the parents are always saying yes, you go, okay, just keep doing it then.
then.
Yeah, that's also another reason why I'm lucky, I guess, too, having supportive parents.
Mm. Um, like you said about like the bad decision or like, doing something that other people take for granted. I keep coming back to it. But yeah, like you said, you moving to the States and all that sort of thing, there would have been those moments, like, I don't know if you call them homesick, but just those little moments, like not where you're going, I can't believe I'm doing this, to you also going, I have no business being here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's probably like when you're doing so much jujitsu, you don't probably get time to think about that kind of stuff so much.
Hmm.
Like you're always behind the eight ball, trying to be as good as these guys in the gym, and you're just constantly training. And we're not training. It's like, okay, I'm just sleeping because I'm tired. And then it's not until maybe you get an injury or something where you have to take a bit of time, and then you can actually realize like, oh
Got
wow,
time
I've
to
been
think.
training for this long, or I want to go home, but it's probably just injury blues.
Yeah. And again, from traveling from an early age, it'd be something you were just used to, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think in the last like since high school, so in like 10 years, I think I've moved like 12 times. So yeah, I don't I'm always on the go.
You
Something.
got it down to a few bags.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, number 6, 4 things you cannot live without, animate or inanimate.
Um, well, the easiest one is jujitsu.
Mhm.
You know, jujitsu's can't live without that. I need good food. Like I have a pretty good diet, like not as perfect as dad's, but it's pretty good, and I have a decent understanding of, what fuel I need to do what I want to do. So
So you
definitely,
don't sit down at breakfast with your mates and an eggs Benedict comes out and goes, "You gonna fucking eat that?" Or like,
no, no, I don't. Well, sometimes it's like a mate who's an athlete as well. We sort of like try to like we'll buy a bag of lollies and like put it in front of the other one, like so then we can call each other fat or order him an ice cream or something like that. It's kind of funny, but
Because
no.
I sit down and eat with your dad, and I'll get fucking nervous. Like you'll order his smoked salmon and 4 poached eggs and this and gluten-free toast, and I'll just go, "Can I just have a fucking coffee or a chicken salad?" It's like, I'll wait
Yeah,
till I get home to have that.
yeah. Wait till he's not here for me to eat. No, I'm not as bad as him in that respect. But need a good baseline level of good food.
um, 2 more.
Uh, I got a good core friendship group. Even outside of jiu-jitsu, like just mates from high school that I'm still really close with, and that's really awesome.
Is it good having friends that don't train?
I really like it because I've got friends at the academy, and then I've got friends outside, and I think
Balances it out?
yeah, well, it's definitely humbling because like they don't give a fuck about jiu-jitsu and they don't care who
Mm.
I am. So like if I ever will get arrogant, they'll just be like, "Shut up, loser." Whereas like someone who does jiu-jitsu might be like, "Oh yeah, that's really cool. Like, you did that." Whereas like my mates from high school will just call me a loser. So
I think we need that. Like it
I
brings us
think so
down to
too.
earth.
Yeah, I think it's really good. It's really good. Who knows? Maybe I would have been an arrogant little shit, or maybe people think I am anyway without them.
Yeah, I think yeah. And I mean, look, I'm going to say this politely, but it's not a shot. You could have very easily become an arrogant little shit.
Well, a lot of people probably think I am.
Yeah. Then I always say there's a fine line between arrogance and confidence.
Yeah,
I would
probably.
say you're very confident in your ability and so you should be.
Yeah.
But I think to have a few mates that not just can tell you that, but you listen to them when they say, pull your head in.
Yeah.
There's a difference between people saying that to you and you taking it on board and acknowledging it.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. That makes
You know,
sense.
they say you're being a fuckhead. You go, yeah, actually I am. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I give it back to them if they do the same shit, so
That's good. You need
yeah.
those friends.
Last one, just probably exercise in general. Like I said before, I kind of got to get something every day. Like if it's not going to be jiu-jitsu, like even I'll go to the driving range if I have a spare hour. Like that's, I did some sort of exercise at a minimum.
So you're not a sit around the house moping guy. Are you a gamer?
Nah, I played games a bit in high school. The only game I'll play like every year when the new NBA 2K game comes out on PlayStation, I'll
Hmm.
smash that for like a couple of months when it first comes out, which I
Yeah.
think it comes out like soon. So
Put that
I've
on the
got my like
calendar.
2 months of gaming coming up, and then I get bored. I don't game until the next year it comes out.
Yep.
Yeah, no, if I sit around the house, I just start to feel like fat and sluggish. I don't know. I need to go and sweat, do something.
Hmm. And again, that's just become habitual. You've probably just this is this influence over authority thing. So you would, again, as early as you can remember, you can probably remember your old man going to training and just doing that.
Monkey see, monkey do. Yep.
Hmm.
Chin up bar in the backyard, rowing machine in the living room. Just a constant thing.
Yeah. By the way, Pete, I love you. Sorry, this isn't the bag Pete hour. But was there ever a time where you just go, you fucking on that thing again? Like, where's that? Oh, he's out the back doing fucking pull-ups again. Like,
Yeah, it was always too at like Sunday on like a 5 p.m. on a Sunday when no one can be fucked doing anything. And I'm gonna get the 24-hour world record for pull-ups. If I do two an hour, two a minute with this amount of sets and this amount of rest, I reckon I can do it. The record's this, and I can do this. And it's like, whatever, dude. Like, I don't care.
Can you just fucking sit on your ass for 5 minutes?
Yeah, give it a rest.
But then again, like you said, there are opportunities that other people never had.
Yeah, yeah, true.
All right, number 7. If you were not doing what you were doing in life right now, what would have been option number 2? Golf pro.
Well, now, yeah, golf pro. No, I'm not nowhere near good enough to be golf pro. I say I'm good, but I'm okay. Um, I always thought I'd probably just do like some sort of high-paying, shitty work, maybe dangerous or something that just people didn't want to do, like maybe like mines type of stuff, or
Yeah.
just something where I could have time to do my own thing, like FIFO 2 on 2 off type stuff. That
Mm.
always seemed kind of attractive to me because you get your paycheck and you just tough out the shit stuff for 2 weeks and then do whatever you want.
Go back to high school. What was, I don't know, what was like your favorite subjects at high school? So what were you like, if I was looking at you in high school, what would I maybe have been going, oh, he's got the potential to maybe do this at uni?
I never really tried that much in high school because I always knew what I was going to do, but I was always pretty good at maths. Maths, I was like in the advanced classes,
Mm.
year 9, 10, without really doing anything, just kind of
Hmm.
casually. Um, like I think, yeah, maths and science type stuff I was better at. English stuff I was really bad. I feel like you're either one or the other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
enviro science, geography, maths, probably my better subjects. But again, there wasn't a whole lot of effort involved in much going on at school.
Yeah. Okay. So we might have had an engineer or
I, I would like to say I'm like a logic based thinker with that kind of stuff. Yeah,
okay.
not saying I'm smart enough to be an engineer, but you're on the track of wherever.
Something numbers. Something
Yeah.
numbers. Yeah, cool. Number 8. One time you have backed yourself when everything was saying to just give up.
Probably my shoulder surgeries, particularly the left one. They were tough. Just the rehab on shoulder surgeries is terrible.
So this is again, I guess, there's so much benefit in doing sports from an early age, but it's not without its struggles.
Hmm.
You've had your share of, well, I don't know, would you call them significant injuries? So you've had 2 shoulder surgeries.
Yeah, I've had the 2 shoulder surgeries. I haven't had any other major surgeries for injuries. Just like knee braces and, torn hip flexors and yeah, countless knee ligaments. Just little things like that that every jiu-jitsu person will understand. Like injuries that put you out for a month, put you out for 6 weeks, that kind of thing. But yeah, the shoulder surgery was a tough one.
Was there a point where you, not giving up, but you just went, maybe I've run my race here, or
No, I don't think so. Probably too young for that. If I had to have shoulder surgery now, I'd probably be like, all right, maybe the competition stuff is going to be done.
mm,
But my shoulder surgery was my last one. I think was when I was like 24. I want to say. So I was like, okay, I can do this, but this fucking kind of sucks.
what was it? Was it an acute injury or just like chronic?
Yeah, I was training at Henzo's and a guy did a drop Nagi, so I was getting thrown over the top, and then I went out to like post my hand on the
Oh,
mat, and it kind of like slipped on a patch of sweat as well. So then we sort of like landed with it like back here and just like ripped my labrum. And then the surgery on my right shoulder, I think was like 45 minutes for a labrum as well. And then when he got into that one, it was like 2.5 hours or something. It was
yeah.
much more extensive. So the rehab took a lot longer to get the mobility back and stuff.
Did you have to come back to Australia to get them done?
Yeah, I got a quote over there and it was like 40 grand or something. So I was like, okay, that's what everyone says about the healthcare system here.
Oh,
I'm going to
God.
cost me like $800 or something.
Yeah, it's
So,
crazy.
but yeah, that was, a bit interrupting for that time I was at Henzo's, but I got back over there and got back into it.
How's your body holding up on a scale of 1 to 10?
Honestly, like probably like 8,
Because
like good.
I say to kids, like, well, you train a kid through puberty, their body develops and adapts for whatever sport they're playing. This is the
Mm,
thing, like you read about it, a kid that plays basketball starts playing basketball at 5 and 6 years old. It's not fucking coincidence that that kid ends up being 6'5" tall. Like his
mm.
body is adapting and changing and growing to, it's kind of like natural selection. Are you seeing that now with kids that you're training moving up, and like you're saying, their body is turning into a body for jiu-jitsu? Because same for you, like you're tall, you're lean, you've got long levers. It'd be interesting to turn back the clock and go, what if you were playing rugby league instead as a kid? What would your body shape have been like?
Yeah, maybe. I think that the number one thing that people will get from jiu-jitsu, especially training as a kid, is like that mobility and
Mm,
agility as well, I guess. Because like I was saying before, like if like someone like your daughter trains from 10 till or 3 till 13, and then they come back and it's those positions they can still put their bodies in,
yeah,
like even just sort of like doing like knee on belly or something, like just the way that they sit in with their hips sunken into position
they just look
compared
so
to like
comfortable.
yeah, compared to like an adult white belt doing knee on belly, you're like, what are you doing? Why are you sitting like that? And he's like, what do you whereas a kid just like sits there and they sort of they fall into position and they have all of their weight on the person. It's not
Mm,
rigid. That's I think what you notice the most. Someone who's trained as a kid, everything looks easy for them to do.
mm.
Sometimes I have to be careful, like when I'm teaching, I'm like, just do this. And people are like, we can't do that.
I was just about to say that because I say to the guys about teaching on assumption, we forget how many movements that we're doing that are just second nature to us. We're like,
Mm.
oh, fuck, they're not fucking doing that. It's like, well, have you told them? Like, have you broken it down?
Yeah, it's hard sometimes.
It's like doing a fundamentals course or something we do in here, or, you're putting jujitsu stuff into like our Krav Maga program. And so I'll go down into Mount and they look at you like you've just spoken a different language. Oh, you've got
Mm.
to sit. And it's like you break it. How do you fucking, oh, because no one's shown it to you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. A lot of the movements you assume might be natural movements. Maybe it was shown to you, maybe it wasn't.
hmm.
stumbled across it, but at some point you figured it out, knowingly or not.
That's it. I don't think anyone, like you said, you thinking back to your first classes, I don't remember getting physically taught positions,
Mm.
but now we just do the positions.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
it. Yeah.
I don't remember with Darren McKeon getting taught butterfly guard. We just did open guard because that's what he fucking does. So we'll do it
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Just shit like that.
Yeah.
Um, Now, number 9, 3 pieces of advice to people that are finding reasons to not back themselves to instead back themselves.
I would say, um, don't take yourself too seriously. Um,
Is that
and,
coming from someone who maybe does take themselves too seriously
um,
or has taken themselves too seriously?
yeah, sometimes because you can sort of get in your own head, and it can create more angst and nerves and stuff, especially around like competing and things like that. If you sort of like feel like you're supposed to be that person that you are trying to be, whereas it's like
Mm,
relax, like you are what you are, and just do your best, sort of thing.
yeah.
Like if you think too much about the outcome and you know the person that you think would be in that certain position that you're trying to get to, you can sort of come away from what you're actually trying to do in the present moment. It's kind of hard to explain, but
Having said that, no, it makes sense. Having said that, would you call yourself a goal setter or are you just going to give it a crack and just see where it goes?
I try to always bring myself back to just give it a crack and see where it goes. Because
Mm,
I find I get too fixated on something that I can't control.
yeah.
I can identify that and reel it in, but sometimes you miss it, and then you're not in the moment, and that's when you
Mm,
have performances.
yeah. Okay. 2 more.
Um, don't look so much at what other people are doing. Again, just focus on yourself.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah, well, I haven't heard that, but that's a good one. Yeah, if you focus on what other people are doing, then you're just gonna get left behind.
So what I find is, I'm sort of getting to it, a lot of when people give these 3 pieces of advice, obviously they're pieces of advice that they've learnt from themselves. Have you been a victim of comparison or you've compared to others or compared yourself?
Yep, yep. Even sometimes from a young age, like at a jiu-jitsu tournament, that kid's got patches on his gi and a mohawk. You go, fuck,
Fuck him, he's a gun. He's a
pretty good.
Do you know
Well,
what? I would love you to have a talk to Ivy about that because I've found the last few tournaments, she's had to get merged and she's been either merged up or, merged up a belt. Or like when she was an orange, she had to do a couple of green belts and that sort of thing. And she would just literally jump into her own head. Fuck, she's a green belt. She's this or this. And like, she's another green belt. She's got an extra stripe than me on her belt.
yeah,
And it's like, fuck, so what? You know, but it's that, talking, you're talking yourself out of it before it's even started.
exactly. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense, does it, when you look at it from the outside? But when you're in that position of the person doing it, it's all you can think about.
Mm,
But it's
mm.
just like when you're not there, say like you're in the shoes of the coach, it's like, dude, just who cares? Just go compete.
Yeah, it's easy for us to say as coaches, like even she did the States, was that 2 weeks ago? And straight away, she's not even on Instagram, but she's found the Instagram profile of the girl she's competing against. And she can see that this girl's traveled to compete. She's got a sponsor. And she's like, "Oh, fuck, I don't have a sponsor." I said, "Yeah, me. I'm your fucking sponsor. I pay for everything." Uh,
Yeah,
but and then gets in, does a great job, has a win. And I said, do you see what like just go. They're
yeah,
just another person.
yeah. It's easy to psych yourself out, but it's not the way to go about it.
Do you have a little, this would be a good thing maybe to talk to a couple of people about. Do you have a little mental preparation routine Has that been a big part of your training?
Yeah. It's
Because
pretty much,
you'd be a very like, I don't know, like if you've kept count, but this is what I say to guys about fighting and competing. It's not that how many you've won or lost. It's that you've gone through the process of competition this amount of times. So you'd be a bit of a routine when it comes to competing and what you're doing.
yeah. But in saying that, like, I try to not have any, like, say, rituals, like what I have to have for dinner or what I have to do for a warm up, because I don't want to get to the point where I miss one of those things and then I fall to pieces.
Fucks with your head.
Yeah, so I try to keep it all as free as possible. And it's pretty much always just coming back to being present, because my issue is outcome-based thinking rather than just dealing what's right in front of me.
Yep.
So it's always just like, even like feeling the mat, feeling my gi, like hearing what's around me and being in the stadium at the time,
Yeah.
not thinking about like what my fucking Instagram caption is going to be when I win. I've thought about it before, but leading up to times, I catch myself, I'm like, are you fucking serious? You're thinking about
I was going to say, you say that in a tone that you've caught yourself out doing that before.
yeah. Like days before, or even the day before, I'm like, hey, what the fuck? You haven't won yet. And then I lose. Like, well, you can't think about what you're going to caption in your photo before you fucking win. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's done that. People
Oh,
might not.
fuck, mate. You would not be the only one.
No way. People probably do it all the time.
Um, do you think training the guys or training, anyone, do you think that's a part of training that, especially competition, that gets missed?
Yeah, I try to have as much of a mental focus on my teaching as I do physical. Like, especially if we're coming up to competition, like I try to explain to the guys, like, you need to be like super aware of what the other person's doing. Like, if you're thinking about like too much about what you're trying to do, it's too hard to see what they're trying to do to you. So ways you can think to sort of have a strategy or just be more present, things like that.
Would you say when you compete, you have a like a plan, or do you call it a theme? So Ivy, for example, Ivy has her ideal situation. She'll get a takedown, she'll get on top, and she usually can say finish with an Americana. And that seems to work more often than not. But in this particular one she had recently, the girl pulled guard. So she had to straight away change her plan, but she still managed to get on top and get the Americana. So we kind of work with her, say, on themes more than actual, I need to get this, then this, then this, then this. What do you do?
Well, I think that I'm going to naturally gravitate to the things that I do best. So she obviously does an Americana really well. So I think no matter what problem that she's thrown, she's going to find a way to try to get to the Americana. But for me, it's more about trying to deal with the problems that they're going to throw rather than focusing on like too much about the Americana. Like,
Yeah.
my body's going to do that for me. I don't need to think about that. Like, for me,
Yeah,
if
right.
I get closed guard, like I don't have to think. Like, I'm gonna take someone's back, arm lock them or mount them. Like, it's just gonna happen. But if I'm in something like their spider guard or something, I'm like, okay, this is an issue that I have to deal with, because I can't necessarily progress to somewhere where I like from here. I have to deal with this to then get to like just half guard on top, where I can then build my plan from there. So I
Would you
think
call yourself an attacker or a counter fighter?
I think when I've performed best, attacking, and
By
my
attacking, just trying to move forward with what you're
yeah,
doing.
yeah. My fights are usually always entertaining, win or loss. Like, I might blow a lead, or I might come back from a
Mm,
big deficit. Either way, like, there's going to be something happening. I'm not going to stall and sit there.
yeah. Okay. Have we done three? I think we did two.
Yeah. Third
Told
one.
you we do tangents.
Yeah, that's all right. Um, I would say consequences of failure aren't as bad as what you think they are.
Mm-hmm.
So, coming back to like you need to back yourself. Um,
Put that on a t-shirt.
yeah, consequences of failure probably aren't that bad. Like,
That's our motto. That's our motto, mate. Jesus, like it's all
yeah,
over.
that's it. I
You're
think
due,
of it
you're due
class.
for a free t-shirt, mate. I'll give you one when you get up here.
All right, thank you.
What do you think? Do you think people take failure too seriously?
Well, if you're scared of like what might happen, it's like I think obviously there's some scenarios maybe where people like failure is really, really bad, but I think generally for the most part, it's like, okay, like what's the worst thing? You lose and no one really cares. Like,
I mean, as we both know, jiu-jitsu can be a very humbling experience.
mm,
And I'm not the first, well, I'm not afraid to admit that I probably tap once every couple of weeks. And it's not because I'm losing, because I go, if I keep going with this, I might win, but then I can't walk for a week, or like I
mm,
can't fucking straighten my arm or lift my shoulder above my head. But so many of us view that tap as the pinnacle. Like
mm.
you would still be in this, like it's a way to improve, but some of us get tapped and we literally carry that around for weeks.
No, no, you're supposed to be tapping in training. Like, I probably wouldn't want to be tapping in training if I'm trying my best stuff. That's not somewhere I'd want to be tapping.
Mm,
But like you should be, if I'm training with someone I can beat, I should be putting myself in a position where I'm vulnerable. And maybe sometimes I don't get out. I'm not just gonna bully someone that's not as good as me.
mm.
So, and then, on the other side of it, hopefully you're just seeking out training partners who are better than you, which, then you're definitely gonna tap, even if you are doing your best stuff, which is fine.
How do you feel with the positional work and that sort of thing? Do you do a fair bit of that stuff, or what do you like?
Oh, yeah. So in every class I teach, like there's a minimum of one round of specific training, which is going to be on the theme of what I taught. So if we did something from Mount, we're definitely going to do Mount specific training.
Yeah.
That's like baseline minimum. Generally, there's going to be probably like two or three or four even rounds of positional training. I think it's where you upskill the most.
Do you think there's more to be learned from that than just doing rounds?
Um, I think you can learn just as much from doing rounds, but you need more of your own mental discipline.
'Cause if you
Because
get somebody who's good at one thing and they keep leaning to that one thing in rounds, so say they're a good top guy, they may they may go a whole night and never actually have to go into guard.
that's what I mean. So you need to have that mental discipline to be like, okay, I'm gonna, let this guy sweep me
Yeah,
or start on bottom.
that's what makes them
Otherwise,
more rounded, I guess, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. Jiu-jitsu is not fun for me if I'm not getting better. Like I
Mm.
get so bored if I just do the stuff I do best. Like I want to be getting better. Like that's why jiu-jitsu is so fun because you can just constantly upskill. So like for me, if I'm not learning something new, I'm like, "Fuck, this kind of sucks. This is boring."
And that's the thing. Like I think this is 23 years for me. You've been going for what, 24 odd years.
Mhm.
It would be very easy to have gotten half of this and said I'm bored with it. So if you have people like, I know I've had students in the past in all the arts say,
Mm.
"Oh, I'm getting bored with this." Well, then that's not me. That's you.
Yeah, yeah. You need to get better at something, a different area.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, before we go on to question 10, I've still got a couple of tangents. The thing that I saw a picture of you a little while ago. You taught a class at the basement, blue
Yep.
basement. I showed a few of my guys that, and I said, I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit old and nostalgic, but that's a fucking big deal, isn't it?
Um, yeah, I think so. Um, it's not, yeah, I mean, I've taught a bunch of classes there before. So for me, it's not like at the time, it's not like, oh, I'm scared to do this. But yeah, it is a big academy and there's a lot of people and you feel like you have responsibility, to teach well if you're teaching at Henzo Gracie's, main academy.
Would you say that's I don't know if I go so far to call it imposter syndrome, but are you feeling that pressure? Like, I hope they like this. Like, I hope this is actually like, are they enjoying it? They don't look like they're enjoying it. No one's smiling. No one seems like they're having fun.
No, because if you teach a class, something like that, I'm just gonna teach my best stuff. So I'm not gonna take a risk. I know they're gonna
These are
like
my
it.
t-shirt. This is my t-shirt seller.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna take a chance on something I've been working on last. I'm gonna show you the stuff that's tried and tested, and I know you're gonna like.
Well, in that case, that is pressure, isn't it? Like,
Well, yeah. If they don't like it, then I'm really fucked. Yeah, no, I'll guinea pig stuff in smaller classes and wait till I get to the top with it.
that's fucking funny. 10, a quote to live by.
Um, it's kind of an interesting one, and it's kind of long, but it's my favorite quote, I think. It's Anthony Bourdain. He actually used to train at
Mhm.
Henzo's Academy before he died. And it's eat at a local restaurant tonight, get the cream sauce, have a cold pint at 4 o'clock in a mostly empty bar, go somewhere you've never been, listen to someone you may think have nothing in common with you, order the steak rare, eat an oyster, have a Negroni, have two. Be open to a world where you may not understand or agree with the person next to you, but have a drink with them anyway. Eat slowly, tip your server, enjoy your friends, check in on yourself, check in on your friends, enjoy the ride.
I have heard that before
It's
many
sick, huh?
times. Why does that strike a chord with you?
Because it's like, don't take yourself too seriously. Don't care so much about what other people think or do. Just be you and just like experience life, Like say yes, to within reason, but just have your eyes open and enjoy life.
Do you it's I'm listening to this as we go. We're nearly at the end. But the thing that keeps striking me is, I don't know whether you caught you write yourself off, but a few times you've called yourself a nepo baby.
Yeah.
I think that's not funny, but I think that's interesting. You could have very well said, I don't want to fucking do this. You've got jujitsu. I want to go and fucking do this, or I want to go and sit on my ass. I think you've chosen to do what you're doing. It hasn't been, I don't think anything's been handed to you. I think you've had opportunities that other
Yep.
people may not have had,
Mm.
but you could have refused them or just completely fucked them up.
Yeah, yeah. I've done some things that have been okay. It's not all been dad, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, and this is, I, Lila, for example, there was a period there when she was younger, and, like, again, you hang around, your kids hang around you, they adopt your behaviors.
Mm.
A few of the guys here were calling her, they went through a phase where she was getting called Kyla. And it was a funny at first, but then I really started to get shitty about it. And I
Mm.
said, she's not Kyla, she's Lila. She can
Mm.
be whoever she wants to be.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, now at the moment, she's really into music.
Yeah.
She's playing instruments, she's performing. She may, she doesn't have to do this because this is what I do.
No. Yeah.
But and that's I think something very interesting for you that, you know, as I said, we have talked about your dad a little bit in this, but he's Pete, you're Max,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Gotta make your own decisions in life, I guess.
you know. And again, like Kobe's taken her own path too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah, it's cool that and then again on the flip side of that, you are like, you can probably look back in however many years and going, like you said, I never actually did a 9 to 5 job. I just taught jujitsu. Yeah. It's fucking,
Cool.
there's worse jobs to have, mate.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And
I
again,
agree.
that's probably the thing, like we were talking, the adulting, as you would call it, this and
Yeah.
there's this and that. And you go, yeah, but there's all these fucking cool things that I'm doing now. Like, and you're probably getting now this replication, like you said. I, I remember, as we said off air, you went through a period where you just fucking did not like teaching kids. So
Yeah.
you can see there's relevance in this.
Yeah, yeah. Now,
You
yeah, now
know,
I enjoy it.
and from like this club, you know, like you see kids that you were teaching as kids, 20 plus years later, they're bringing their kids,
Yeah,
and like they're
cool.
referring to conversations that you had with them as a kid, and you go, oh yeah, I cannot remember that for the fucking life of me, but you've you've hung on to that, and that's been something that's kept you going. So yeah, you don't know how much of a part you're playing.
Mm. No, not at all.
You know, don't get me wrong, as much as they shit you off every now and then, but there's all the stuff they're doing right.
Totally.
But Max the Bean, thank you. It's
Thank you for having me, Kyle.
it's an honor to have known you for their length of time. You'll be up here. You'll be up here in about three or 4 months, October.
Yep,
Yeah, you'll
I'm
get
keen.
to hang out with Reggie, and we can take you and do some stuff, and
Share
yeah,
some knowledge.
share some knowledge, share some time.
Right.
Guys, this podcast is a labor of love, but we would love for you to share, like, subscribe. There's other episodes that I'm sure that you can listen to and get the same perspective, and keep an eye out for the other ones. But Max, thank you. You got a class tonight?
Yeah, kids classes and adults class after that, so
Rock and
probably
roll,
sounds good.
rock and
Yeah.
roll. Thanks, guys. We will see you soon. Bye bye.